Good evening. Today's Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. We're going to go over today's session. We're going to go ahead and start with a mission statement here. Our objectives is to glean market generated information. We want this to be clear and concise with an aim to do better and improve each session. After we touch all of our bases, we'll spend a short time theorizing and looking deeper on the current action. Cool? Let's get started. For today, the docket is pretty light. No real big heavy hitter for earnings. We only had a 12 noon consumer credit. Not really anticipated. Again, this week should be a little lighter, especially in the middle of the week. Tomorrow we do have Eli Lilly for healthcare, which would be pretty important, or at least add to the momentum. We'll go ahead and start with the monthly candle and ask ourselves our questions. Where is the market coming from? We'll go ahead and take a quick peek here with the footprint and start here this time. Of course, we had the Monday, the big sell-off overnight. Ended up shooting down all the way, ended up basing upwards, and held pretty well. This is more of a high normal for the NQ, and this is the ES. The next day, which was yesterday, we ended up having a nice hold overnight, shot upwards, looked like it was going to be a nice bull flag, and then completely bounced, broke the trend up, and closed with a barely higher low. We trade down a little bit, still retain that low, drift upwards. A little bit of two-way trading as of last night. Burst above those areas. And these areas that we were breaking above here and here is our retracements to last week's close. We tried to, well, we broke above. Again, it's important that Tuesday was a lower high. Today we ended up breaking both of those highs, and we'll look at the market profile structured here because you really can't see too much with these wicks. We can look deeper with the profile, which is that's why it's a helpful tool. A failure here. This should be about the settlement. I'll have to double check there. And then we have the daily for the NQ, which we did hit. Fell short yesterday, broke both highs, and ended up testing right about that point. So the narrative, at least where we were coming from, was to hopefully build volume higher, as in like a bull flag, using our support areas for support, and building and staying within these orange zones on the dailies. Unfortunately, that failed, but again, we'll look into the details shortly. So let's look at the actual volume, the statistics. Again, we have a very high delta, as we do now. A lot of effort from the buyers in the beginning, a lot of effort from the buyers at the beginning of the RT8 session as well. Ended up being absorbed, and they liquidated, and we have new shorts at this very important area, which is where we're at, clearly where these buyers were. Very nice range. You got 137, over 2 million again, more than yesterday, with the excess of buyers for the delta. Higher volume than yesterday, same here. We got some buyers lurking around. Situation where this is a bit elongated. These are the buyers that I was referring to. Definitely tried up here, but it just completely failed. This is a very horrible place to try to average in or try to initiate some new longs, maybe with some short coverings or just like a stop run. This is actually what we talked about last night as well, eventual stop run up here and then reloading and going back down, which is kind of what happened here. I need to do a better job of being more aligned with my plans in real time. And just FYI, all this is in real time as well. I'm gonna add a note for future reference to start off with that, just to make sure that we're avoiding hindsight. So we got a little bit ahead of ourselves today. We can see our wick here, so clearly we open here. This is the high we shot down. We can kind of see it here at the bottom left. Gonna take a quick look at the sectors before we dive a little deeper and get a time check because I think I'm going a bit fast. Yeah, I'm at 5 minutes. I wrote down a lot of notes and I wanted to be a bit prepared, so my apologies. Let me slow down just a wee bit. So overall, we're down, let's see, 0.75% for the S&P 500. Again, we were up pretty nicely and gave up all those gains. XLC is negative a half. We have discretionary down $1.75. I believe this was Tesla. Yeah, Tesla, Home Depot. Amazon was actually break even. We got our defensive stocks. Energy actually did pretty decently. It's good to see financials holding strong. I'm just curious what it looked like. There we go. Okay. Healthcare. It's not a good sign, especially when they have data coming out. Catalyst. I'm sorry, earnings tomorrow for Eli Lilly, which is the leader for that ETF. We got industrials down 0.5%. Materials, not too worried about this. Real estate was doing pretty well its first day. Them doing pretty bad. That may not be the first day, but they've been hanging in there pretty well. Interesting to see. But they're a lighter weight sector. Technology, of course, we already know. Let me double check who is the worst performers. Nvidia. Okay. And Broadcom. So just chips. And then utilities, who's been breaking out. Good job for you guys. Just curious who's NEE. Me. Okay, got it. So overall, we'll be on the look tomorrow for discretionary. For sure, healthcare. Yeah, discretionary and healthcare. And keep an eye on financials. I would imagine these are going to be a safe haven for the staples. All right, as we have finished that, we'll go ahead and take a quick look at the market profile so we can glean a little bit more information here. We'll take a quick look at the footprint once more. Just take another look at the candles, where the sellers, just where everyone is positioned at. I really like the positioning of the sellers. Nice, nice. This is not good here. We got a nice average in. Stop runs, reloads for sure, so on and so forth. Before we get into the profile, I actually would like to see where we are in the fibs. So I'm a little disappointed I didn't do the all-time highs fibs. I made a comment last night that we can go into infinity for points of references, but I think that was actually okay. No, disregard. Okay, yeah, this is why I just avoided it. Yeah, it was from this area that I was looking at. But anyways, I digress. So from the sell-off, we'll look at this again here. We're now below the 38%, which is not good. And of course, we're gonna have the same situation here. The NQ, who was doing much better, but we got completely just kicked back down. So this is really bearish for sure. All right, we'll go ahead and take a profile, which has been very helpful given the elongated wicks. And again, those are not small candles by any means. Those are, those has like 80 points, 80, 100 points. It's a lot of those wicks. So again, we have this Friday session here. We're going to go ahead and move that over. I actually like leaving this here so you can, goodness gracious. There we go. I have to do those weekend days. So I like having this Friday here so we can kind of see. But kudos to for us for adding this zone here for the VPOC in the middle of the. I think it was in prep, if not last night, but that actually ended up being the high of the day. We knew that this was going to be pretty important, but we didn't give it the importance that it deserved. However, that's in the past. Let's move forward. So we look a little deeper at this profile. Multi-distributed, nice little B and a P as well. This B was built towards the end of the day, which is very important. I'm curious the difference in volume by number by contracts that this is, because I would imagine it's not too much. Though the VPOC is up here and the value area is here, we can't disregard where the majority of this action was taken. So I'm gonna need to look a little deeper here in my own time because this was a lot of volume done for us to be down here. Not too many brackets. It was just a lot, but really the same thing up here. So just nice distribution and accumulation down here. I believe those would be the right terms. So I'm just kind of looking at this to see how we respond. Actually, let me have a little more process with this. So we began here, and we ended up using this as support, which was the zone that we created here. High volume nodes, VPOC, just a lot of activity going on over here. It's just really important. This was our line in the sand here. It's the reason that we colored it purple. We ended up shooting upwards and going into the zone that we got kicked out of. Held it strong. Nice little cradle, little bottoming formation here. Shot up, tickled these singles just a wee bit, pulled back, and as we got into the market open, I believe, completely burst through, eviscerated those, came to the VPOC exactly, got stuffed for about an hour and a half, about an hour. I traded live in this area, so we have this on our channel. So if you do want to look at that, just look at the 8-7 live speculation. You can see this and what it looked like. And then just completely lower highs and lower lows, complete rejection. I mean, this is hitting your head against the wall and getting shot out of a cannon the other way. Just interesting. Though no singles. Seemed like a calm traded. Of course, we had the singles at the bottom, which have already been eaten through, so it's no point in writing those. Very bearish. So just another day where we're ending bearish. We're ending at the lows like that, which has kind of been a trend, and then we'll rise up a little bit. Close a little bearish, then we'll rise up a little bit. Close a little bearish, we'll rise up. So this has kind of been a trend now. If we are in a true, I guess, bearish market on the intermediate time frame, then I guess that's as expected. So really not too much to say here. I do want to pay attention to these areas. Want to merge these together and see what this looks like. I think everything is still going to be valid. Yeah, I'm just going to leave this. Yeah, I'm just going to leave this here. I think everything is extremely valid. At this point, we're going to switch this to resistance. Remove this down breach. So somewhere about in here. It's really messy in here. Yeah, I think that'll just be like arbitrary. I don't really have a reference for this next 100 points. So I'm sure you can just really get in the nitty gritty and look at these valleys in here, things of that nature, and you can, get some of these wicks here. But I passed. All this is just bad, though. This is still pretty pivotal, and I love how today we stopped right before this. This is a zone that was really most important to me. I just didn't write it. To be transparent. I didn't think we would. I didn't think we were gonna come down here that fast. So I mean that's just jokes on me. Jesus, yeah, I'm already pierced through that, and we stopped. This is today's session here. We stopped here. So really, their next point of reference would be here. And then really just the last of it. Then these beautiful singles. Wasn't this 8-2? No, it was 8-5. Yeah, 8-5. Now I'm just gonna leave that same color because I'm familiar with that. Okay, so from what we've gleaned, we understand our areas to the downside. Just above us is just I don't know what to say about that, to be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and remove these singles too. We don't need those. So I mean, you could throw a. I'm sure you could possibly throw like a trend line on here or something. But actually, you know what? We'll throw this little bit in. You're about to do your hair? Yes, I should be almost done. So I was going too fast. I was done really in like 10 minutes. All right. And you know what? Sure. Just so we know where we're at. Might as well have like a little road map. I don't expect these to be perfect, but it's nice to have them. And then just up there. Then I'll go ahead and put this little single here just to differentiate. Nice. So yeah, we got a lot out of that. I'm gonna go ahead and add this midline to this zone here since it's so big. That looks nice. We have a good idea where we're at to this downside given this mini composite. Yeah, just kept it simple. We'll go ahead and do the same thing here. That's that Thursday. This is the Friday from last week. Ah, I went ahead. I got ahead for a little bit. Same thing. We started above this zone here, pushed in here, got a little rejected, and grinded our way back up. That same rejection. That same rejection for the VPOC. Crashed through the levels. Crashed through here as well. We're just gonna leave that here for now. let's check. Singles has already been eaten up. This is a little harder for me on the NQ. Market's gonna blow through this shit in like 2 minutes. Watch. There is a real thin area here. It's not a singles. If it's not singles, let me not do that because I'm gonna have a certain expectation. Let's just keep it accurate. And then we already got some areas in here. We're already bursting through, so disregard those. Singles have already been taken. We do have some singles down here, which is just happening, which I don't think that's fair because I didn't do that for the other one. But you know what? Life ain't fair. At least that's what I heard. I may have put the actual word singles on the other. Alright. It's not going to be the easiest to see, but that's fine. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and save this. Alright, I believe we have everything. Alright, so that's all the good information there. We're sitting here at almost 23 minutes. Done a good job across the board. I'm going to go into a little deeper with the RTH. Here's going to be the footprint. Decent buyers, nice volume. I mainly just want you to look where everyone is positioned and then the VPOC, which is going to be the yellow line. Most volume point of control or most volume is done. Just see how that's migrating and then where everyone is located. This is the S&P 500. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just want you to look at the general shape and where everyone is located. Same situation here. More condensed sellers here. Cool. This is the overnight session. Again, we had the really weak close, as you see. About the same situation. We close on the above the IB high on Monday. Tuesday we tried the same shit and crashed lower to the mid. And then we ended up drifting upwards, which led us to today. Open test drive while we're already drifting up. Real tight up channel. Hit our head on that VPOC. Engulfing candle. Tried to fight back. Trend down. We ended up testing this open. For tech, we actually ended up making a low, which is what got me interested in shorting them. Also noticed the more curved up curve versus the straight line. If you want to see a little easier way to see that, notice how they're above the VWAP, RTH VWAP, and the 5 smoothing average. Even with this impulse, It wasn't until a couple candles after when we just really got under. Not really the same situation here. Just little small nuances. But you could tell they were a little weaker. So A bracket, nice close for ES. Pretty decent for NQ. But notice where we close is inside of that high for that first candle. So it had me kind of thinking open auction a little bit with the lean into the upside. But let's continue. Again, no data, so this is just a ugly ass candle for no reason. That was a rejection. I was just kind of digesting this. We ended up making it slow, much weaker again. They just tested their open. It then closed this a bit weak under the IB low while they held their open. Just right above with the almost another test. Well, with the first test, this was almost a test there. We ended up coiling a little bit, shooting outwards. Again, seeing this in real time. This didn't seem really bullish. It just kind of seemed like, I don't know, you just see like your random friend just like, hey, watch this. And you just start breakdancing and you just like, okay. I don't know. It was just kind of just random that this just kind of happened. But this was somewhat expected given we're testing here at the open. We're testing at these overnight levels. But it just did not feel right. It did not feel right. And I even caught this out in real time. Like, okay, we're seeing this, but we need to see some kind of follow through. This shot up in 1 minute candle. This kind of like shot down. I think the second minute, and then the third minute. This is 3 minute bars. And the third minute, we ended up closing more erect. Okay, sure. And then like nothing really happened here. And this is where I entered short. We ended up drifting down. Oh, I'm sorry. And then I ended up entering short here. We ended up drifting down. I closed my damn short here, kind of sensing that we wasn't, kind of like a beach ball effect. But I didn't realize that, well, I did see that this was lower highs the whole time. We had our lower lows. But I just didn't really understand the distribution at that time. It was a lot of sellers. I mean, there's a lot of buyers in here just really pushing. And this was shit. And this was getting a little scary. I may be able to show it here. So I don't want to have too much. Yeah, it's not going to show the best. Just bear with me. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. So you're seeing some, like, a lot of buying in here, but they weren't getting any kind of result. So I was like, okay, cool. That's the case. So we're hitting this VPOC from a key level, a key reference, home base. We kind of jumped up and tapped home base for a little bit, and then just got smooth rejected. Basically, just higher, lower lows and lower highs for the remainder of the time. I stepped away at 9 o'clock, and just pretty straightforward grind down, typical bearish behavior where you're making lower highs the whole time, or equal highs, lower, 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 the whole time. No real chance. Ended up closing extremely weak as we have been recently. Closing really weak, closing weak, closing weak. About here in this area, we gapped up a little bit, kind of traded upwards, and then just completely just sold off pretty hard, like another, it's like 200 points, and maybe like, yeah, 40, about 40-ish in a couple of hours, and now we're kind of pumping upwards. So this is less about a day review and kind of more into the next day, but I don't know, very interesting day. Again, I don't want to kind of project what's going on, but we did mention if we get back under this zone here, this LIS, this is going to be, can be like lights out for buyers. We're having a nice little rally back upwards, but who knows? I think it's very important to sit on my hands in the overnight session and just allow everything to kind of play out and see what we're dealing with in the morning in case there's any discrepancies that we can speculate on. Checking if there's anything else here. Just bear with me. Yep, on the key zones, we got all those, we got that. Yeah, so I don't really have too much more thoughts regarding tomorrow. We'll double check this calendar. We had a jobless claims at 5:30 and then wholesale inventories. I'm curious to see how this goes with the consumer staples where people are putting their money for defensive reasons. If that's how that works, if that's what that's going to dictate. Curious to see how that goes. I don't have anything else, I believe. I've taken several notes today on just trading in this kind of environment. High volatility, kind of black swan, outlier kind of days. It's really important for us to pay attention to when what should happen doesn't, and be quick to pull our trigger if it's part of our playbook and continue on. So I'll leave myself with that. I will be back tomorrow. All right, take care.